Hello. Today I want to talk about some incidents from when I was 6 years old. So, when I was 6 years old, uh, my mother noticed while she used to always take pictures of me and my brother. So, she noticed that I really liked dressing up and dancing. Just I would make up my own songs or movie songs and dance to it. In fact, we have some pictures also of me dancing, and she would dress me up. So, what she did is uh, my parents were fantastic in if they saw that something interested the child, and especially my mother, they would expose us to that. They would cultivate that interest. They were never the kind of parents who said, "Oh, just study and get first rank" and all of that. They were always cultivating our interests. So she joined me in Bharatnatyam classes at school. So, and not only did she join me, like the principal's granddaughter, her name was Aarti, and there was another, her friend, her best friend called Gauri. And then there were three more kids who were two kids who were my age, Indu and Komal, and one kid whose name I don't remember. She was younger than me. So these were the five people who joined the Bharatnatyam classes. A gentleman by name of Radha Krishnamurthy, he had just moved from Chennai, then Madras. So he was a Tamilian, but he was our teacher. And he remained my teacher until all the way till I was fourth grade, where I gave up. So that's one incident I remember, and that's where my love of dance, um, you know, started. And I realized that this is one place where on the stage I was a very quiet child, so where I didn't have to open my mouth and I could still express myself through my face. Uh, and also, be on stage, be in the limelight without opening my mouth, which I was very afraid of till a very late stage in life. So it was fantastic that I got that opportunity. Then the other thing I remember is, uh, and this happened by coincidence. So my dad was just beginning to climb the ladder and was literally he was almost at the peak of his career, not quite, uh, but he was getting there. And like I told, he was used to work for a private company. He used to work very hard, and because he worked so hard at his job, he was getting less and less time to spend with my mother and his family, and that was very important to him. So happenstance, we got introduced to this my favorite event from age 6 all the way till I left India, that occurred once a year in Hyderabad, which was the All India Industrial Exhibition. So many years ago, when it was founded, it was called the Numaish. Numaish just means exhibition, literal translation. But when I was a kid, they had changed it. They gave it a more fancy name. It used to be called All India Industrial Exhibition. And then later on, it got renamed to Numaish again, officially renamed to Numaish. But, anyways, um, so that got introduced into my life. And the way it happened was my dad's company, um, AGI, they had a showroom in that exhibition. And when I was a kid, that exhibition was something else because it was more about, the innovation and technology behind the companies, and less about the commercial aspect, about less about saris and jewelry and bangles and trinkets. Those were also there, but a large part of the exhibition was the government sector, the public and private sector, exhibiting whatever their innovative technology was. For example, there was a civil engineering department of the government, and they would show us, there was a model of a Nagarjuna Sagar dam and how it flowed and the gates, and it was very educational actually. In fact, a lot of school groups used to do that, used to come there as a school educational excursion. So, the most interesting part about this All India Industrial Exhibition was that was one event that brought and was accessible to and was eagerly awaited by all economic classes of the society. Granted, they might have been interested in different stalls, but right from the poorest of the poor, from a laborer, domestic help, to the wealthiest of wealthy, such as industrialist children and industrialists, they all looked forward to this yearly event, and all of them would make at least a trip. There would also be busloads of people coming in from nearby districts to see the All India Industrial Exhibition. It was that big an event in our city, and that was the only event of its kind. We were all, I could see everybody was very proud and looked forward to that opening. It ran from January 1st to February 15th. It still does. So, my father's company had a stall there, and they had an exhibition of how the technology behind all these glass vases and glassware that they used to make. And my dad was in that stall. They were not selling anything. A lot of stalls, like I said, they were just purely exhibits. They were not meant to sell anything. They were meant to kind of display the innovation. It was a matter of pride for them to display the technology and innovation behind their industry. And of course, there are a lot of stalls that sold stuff too, like kitchenware and clothes and items like that. So my dad told my mother, like, why don't you bring the kids there? I'll wrap up. We are installing, like, it was before the exhibition opened. We'll have a sneak preview. It was like all the people who had stalls used to get their families to get a preview day. The exhibition used to open to us before, like few days before it got open to the public. So he said we can have a sneak preview of everything, and after I kind of take care of some things, I can spend time with you. So the very first time that we went, my mother, so the exhibition had 3 gates. There was a Goshamal gate that I've never gone through till now. It was used to be behind, was an uninteresting part of that exhibition grounds. And there used to be something called an Ajanta gate, which had a like proper structure. That was the original gate, and there was a long road leading up to it. So all these vendors who could not afford a stall inside, balloon vendors, little paper dolls, and all that used to be on the street. And then there was another gate called Gandhi Bhavan Gate. It had a Gandhi statue and a big arch. So that was the only, I did not know as a child that the names of these gates. I was only 6. So the first time I entered the exhibition was through that Ajanta gate. So that Ajanta gate, basically the bus or auto, we went in an auto, stopped there, and then we had to walk all along these vendors. So in my little mind, I thought that is only the exhibition, and those vendors were so interesting. Inside the exhibition, the exhibits were not so interesting to me. They were very interesting to my brother, because he had a very curious mind, like a scientific mind. He wanted to know how everything worked. But for me, I used to like all those little dolls and things that they sold only there. You could only find them there. There was one particular toy that was only sold outside that exhibition on the way to that gate, which was like a little plastic doll. I still remember how, like, she had a little bob cut, little this much plastic, cheap plastic doll, and it used to be tied to a plastic paper like a parachute. And then there was a device to which you rolled up the doll and like shot it in the air, and it went high up, and the doll would come down with a parachute around it, like ooh, slide down, and you would do it again. That was my favorite toy there, and that was only available in the exhibition, and it was only available outside the exhibition on the way to that Ajanta gate. Now, the other Gandhi Bhavan gate was very uninteresting. The reason it was uninteresting is, even over there, later on, many years, I realized there was some little bit of a social divide, because the Gandhi Bhavan gate had a road leading up to the gate, till the gate, street. Okay. And people who had cars used to drive all the way up there. At some point in time during the afternoon, the car could even ride right inside. They used to allow it. But in the evening, when the exhibition actually opened, the car could ride all the way up to the gate, and people got off and they would just take the tickets and go inside. So there was no experience of seeing all these roadside vendors. Whereas the Ajanta gate, the people used to come in buses or autos, and they would get dropped off at the end of the street, and it was a pedestrian only street. And that's where all these interesting wares were. That was the only time I went through the Ajanta gate, the very first time I went to the exhibition. And after that, my dad met my mother and said, "Oh, next time onwards, you guys come in through this other gate." And I didn't know the names, because it's easier for me to just meet you there, or the car can drop you off there, and you don't need to walk so much. And of course, he was trying to be helpful. And after that, many times my family went, he would always take this gate. Now, I didn't know the names of the gate. And every time I just knew that there was this one street which had all the toys and all the cheap toys, that were so interesting to me. And there was this other entrance. And the way I identified the entrances, there was a black bust of Gandhiji over there. And there was also a big arch saying All India Industrial Exhibition, navy blue arch with that cream color lettering. Every time we went to the exhibition since then, for many, many, many years, in fact, I did not know until I was 17 or 18 what these gates were called. I was hoping they'd take me to that other entrance, but we always pulled up to this new entrance where all the cars came, stopped. And the minute I saw, and the way I identified as a child is, I was hoping they won't take me to this entrance with the bust of Gandhiji. As soon as I saw that Gandhi statue, my heart used to sink. And I used to think, oh my God, we've again gone through this other entrance. And I didn't know there were two entrances. I didn't know what they were called. I could never express myself how do I enter it through that. Anyways, so this industrial exhibition, we used to always go like little bit towards closing time, and then my dad would come out of the stall and spend time with us. In later years, we all would go together as a family when he stopped working at AGI. So there were some things that were only available at that exhibition. So we had to wait a whole year to get that thing or to eat that thing. Okay. And my brother and I, or to see that thing. And my brother and I used to, wait for it. I don't know if my brother waited. I think he did, because The all these demo stalls, unlike little boys of his age, they used to want to run to the toy store and all that, but he was very different. He had a scientific mind. And definitely, if he was in a country like the US, uh, he would have been a scientist, I'm sure of it. Because I saw that he was very different from other boys. He was more interested in all these exhibits, like how do they build the dam, how do they do this technology. So there was one stall he used to really, one exhibit he used to really like. It was like a aquatic plumbing accessories kind of thing. And it was my favorite too for a different reason. So as soon as uh, we there was like a little wash basin sink with water, and it was motion activated. So as soon as we went to it, closer to it, the water would start. We would step away from it, it would stop. So that was my favorite part. It was my dad's favorite part also, for different reasons. My dad used to uh, be so curious. He wanted to know every time we went to the stall. He would ask the stall guy, when is this going to be available in the market? Because he wanted to be the first one to install that and impress his friends and himself. My brother wanted to know how to replicate that technology. And I was just, it was like magic for me. I would wait to go to that exhibit to see like how the water just starts like that. And my brother would go there, and I remember he would not listen to the guy who says, oh, this is motion activated, and I would be looking at it in amazement. And my brother would try to find where is the wire, where is the source. Like, he would not believe that things like magic exists, and he didn't want to believe also. He would be starting to lift the carpet. Then he came out of the store and he told me, I figured out how that guy activates it. There's a wire going there underneath it, and there's little of like a sensor or something. I would not explain, and I didn't want to listen. I was spoiling the magic for me, but that's how he was. He always wanted to get to the bottom of it. Then the other show that all three of us, all our family enjoyed was, there used to be a ventriloquist there. And again, I used to be like amazed for different reasons. My dad, my brother, and I, for different reasons, we used to like that show. It used to be like magic how this used to have this ventriloquist puppet, how this puppet knows all the answers to this guy's questions. And my dad used to really enjoy it because the ventriloquist, without fail, and I used to be a cute kid, I think, he used to identify me from the crowd every year and call me upstairs. And the the puppet used to start talking to me. It knew my name, everything. And my dad was very proud that his child was the cutest child, and the ventriloquist always used to pick me, and I used to go on stage, and my dad used to get a like thrill out of it. And my brother was curious how to replicate it. How is this guy throwing his voice? So he eventually got himself enrolled in ventriloquist classes, and he got himself a puppet from US. He asked my aunt to bring it for him, and he actually became like a ventriloquist himself as a hobby for the longest time. So he used to say, "Oh, that guy throws his voice." I would not believe him. So he would explain everything to me, but every time he explained the science behind it, I would not be interested. But he was always curious about the science behind it. We would sit, my dad and my brother and I. My mother didn't like rides, so she was there to spend time with my father actually, because that was the time she used to get with him. We used to sit on this Ferris wheel. We used to call it the giant wheel. Okay, so we used to sit there and we used to all go upstairs, and I'd be very scared, but I'd wait for that time that it hit that pinnacle because when we went to the very top, I could see, curious, I would see everything with amazement, all the lights, and how beautiful this exhibition looked. But my brother, I remember he would like be looking at the pulley. Like he would not look at the ground and enjoy it. He would be looking to see how it works. Then then he'd come down, and he would tell the operator, "Can I sit with you and operate it? Because I want to see how it works." And and he would do that. And then my our favorite part, which we enjoyed, was there used to be curry puffs that with a special sauce. Many years later, I realized it was not a special sauce. They would put ketchup in hot water to dilute it because ketchup was very expensive, and they would put that as the sauce. It was liquid, it was steaming hot, and they used to give the curry puff there. The curry puffs were very expensive. Each of them was like, back then, 25 paise or something like that, which were only the rich people, the wealthier people ate the curry puffs. And all the like the poorer sections of the society or the middle class section, they went to the bhel stall. We never went to the bhel stall. We were always eating the curry puff stall. Even there, like my brother would go and ask, "What is the recipe of this sauce? Give it to me." And that guy would say, and I remember it was the same person, the same people put the stall. He would say, "No, no, I can't give you the recipe." Then my favorite thing, my most favorite thing there was this pink cotton candy. We used to call it sugar candy. And my dad knew I liked it. So many times we used to go before the exhibition closed. So before any stall closed, my dad would rush me to the cotton candy store, and the I was only 6, so I was about, this, I think maybe about 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet tall. And there used to be this big drum which was higher than my head. Okay, so I don't know what they did, but we would say we want this sugar candy. We used to call it the cotton candy sugar candy. And the guy would take a stick and do something, and then this cloud of pink cloud. It was the prettiest dessert for me. It was amazing. I didn't want to eat it. For the longest time, I would just hold it. It was so pretty, I didn't want to eat it. And then I would eat it and I would love it. So my brother was taller than me, obviously. So his head was always in the drum. He would be watching how it is made and all. So one day he asked me, like, "Do you know how this is made?" So in my mind, I thought, "Oh my God, this guy is going to now tell me how it is made, and I'm going to lose my amazement." That was not it. My thought was not so clear, but I remember that I was not interested in how it is made. But my brother was very interested in teaching me. But I was very small, and he tried to pick me up. But my brother was also young. I was too heavy for him, and his right hand was a little bit weaker than his left hand because of his fracture and subsequent operation. So he couldn't do that. So then and this was the first time I remember. I'm sure my dad did it before, but I remember this when that my dad picked me up and put me on his shoulders. And then I could see how this cotton candy was made. And I was actually very thankful that they did that. And this guy used to take these pink crystals and throw them in that machine. And somehow these crystals of sugar spun in this. It was into this beautiful pink cloud, and he would put a stick and take it out and give it. And I was like, wow. So after that time, I discovered like the cotton candy, the amazement. But what I also more amazing, more magical for me is when my dad was 5'11", nearly 6 feet tall. He was very, very tall and towering, and had a magnetic personality also. Um, So I discovered to my amazing, this was an amazing vantage point. And I was so little, and half the things that were taller than me I couldn't see. But on my dad's shoulder, I was over everybody else, and I could see everything. I felt so powerful and like in charge. Uh, and then from then on, my favorite part of the exhibition was not all these stalls or the cotton candy or the Ajanta gate, or that we never discovered until many years later. My favorite part of the exhibition is as soon as we went in, I would raise up my arms and my dad would put me on his shoulders. It was riding on my dad's shoulders. It was being the tallest person, even taller than my dad, and just observing everything. I think I rode my on my dad's shoulders for by default till I was 10 years old. So it was my favorite part of the exhibition, riding on my dad's shoulders like that. And I also realized that somehow people used to ask me, after that experience, they used to ask me what I wanted to become when I grew up, you know. And somehow I wanted to be in that towering, higher than everybody else. And finally, I found my role model on TV. And once she came, uh, Indira Gandhi, like she came to my neighborhood actually to canvass for an election. See, I didn't know her political stance or anything. But I remembered that she was standing in this jeep and she was waving, and all the people were running, and she was higher up than anybody else. So then I found out that she was the prime minister. So I would always say I want to be the prime minister. But I appreciate my parents that they never said, "Oh, really?" But only one person becomes. They were very encouraging and very proud of my answer, and they would say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, of course, you'll be the prime minister." Only later, like when other adults, I used to tell, they used to ask me, "Beta, what do you want to be, engineer or doctor?" Then I used to say, "I want to be the prime minister." Then they used to discourage me. They used to say, "No, only one person can be the prime minister. And be a doctor or be a teacher or something else." Other adults used to say that, but nobody in my family told me you cannot be a prime minister. Even if only one person is there, they never told me that. They used to encourage that. So that was something very different about my parents. So these were some of the memories from my age 6. And next time when I'll talk about age 7. Bye.